Hello everybody and welcome to this introduction tutorial for Shapr3D, how to model such a wall bench as you can see in the photos. In this exercise, I will show you how I configured the scene with a basic 3D scan and then the photos we will use to study certain design elements. And then we will actually go ahead and build a somewhat okay sketch, capturing most of the details, which we can extract from the photos plus the scan, and then go ahead and build actually our design. Finish everything with nice rounded fillets and edges, and then add materials inside the viso. And that's it. And with all that said, let's do it. So here we have the starter file, the wall bench raw. And as you can see, we have a pretty coarse scan. That's enough. And we have two photos from the front and from the side. And this is a very good way how I very often also work. I make a scan to get some rough dimensions, and then I take photos of details and put this into a 3D modeling environment. So I have enough information to rebuild something. For example, from this front image, we can very easily get a lot of information. We see where the legs are, how wide they, for example, are. There's none in the center. If I take a look at the side, I can evaluate how much is actually the leg rounded and how are the individual upholstered elements connected between the seat and the backrest. It's a vertical connection, and backrest to the headrest is actually not horizontal but slightly angled. I can also see where the stitching seams are for pattern making later. Okay, very good. So essentially we have all that we need to very quickly recreate a digital version of this design. So in 3D view, I positioned everything so the photos are in the back and the bench with the wall is aligned roughly along the z-axis. So we can, when we're in the right, so side view, go to sketch. And then I have the grid snapping also turned on. And I will roughly on the y-axis where the leg is, start clicking, and then I go up. Let's say here 10 inches. Very good. I go over to the z-axis, go straight down and go back. That's actually defining the roughly where the leg will be. I can zoom out a little bit. Another question is, how do we continue? With what element am I going to work? From the photo, we were able to figure out that here is actually a vertical connection. Okay, now let's do that. There we are. And we're going to build this a little bit simplified in this version. So here I draw a horizontal line. And you can see here, this is slightly arced. I would that also to be a little bit more puffed out. So I will go and select the arc command. And then with the mouse, yeah, let's say something like this. Very good. If I exit the sketch and go to 3D view again, and there you can see we built this and then we built this, and now we can think about all that. So I go back to the side view. When you're in side view, let's turn on section cut or section view, because now we can look into the model. That's actually very useful. I click on sketch one to go back into edit mode. And here's my line tool. And I will continue first the wall line. And one goes straight up. Then it will be horizontal. In the design, it is not, but we're just going to make this horizontal. Click here. I think that's roughly where the transition is. There we can draw a line that is slightly angled. And then we go to the arc command, click, click. And then here we can position this roughly. I on purpose draw this one a little bit incorrect because there are a few things I would like to show you now about how the sketch engine actually works. Because the sketch was created at the center of the world, this origin point is actually filled. So this is locked. If I click on this, now there I can disconnect it, and then I can lock it with this lock icon. Here you see this point is white with a dot inside. And if I click on this, I could now go lock or click lock, and now it can't move. I can click and drag, but doesn't move. I can click on this and drag it, and you see the sketch updates. That's actually the nice thing about a constraint sketch. We can, via dimensions, specify how everything should behave. So, for example, I will, with Shift and mouse button, select all vertical and horizontal lines. Let's skip this one on top. And no, actually not this one. And then we say vertical and horizontal. What this actually means now, this line here, you can see I can move this point and I'm rotating the lines. If I click on this point, I can only go up and down. I can't rotate this anymore because this line will always be horizontal. Very good. So let's work on dimensions. If I click on a line, it tells me this is 27 inches. Click enter. And now, no, actually, yeah. And then you see there's a lock icon. And now I can't even move this anymore. Because this line is horizontal, this line is vertical, but this line is locked, I cannot move this point anymore. I can go up and down, but not left and right because this line cannot be changed. If I click this line and click on 10 and press enter, now this line is 10 inches. I can click with Shift these two lines and say that should be 7 inches. Now I cannot move this one up and down anymore. I can go here left and right, yeah. This one, for example, can move around. So now we can continue specifying all the dimensions. Let's go to constraint settings. I have actually always show this turned off. We can also turn this on for the moment. So you can see everything what we have. I can select this line and this line, zoom out, there it is, and say that is 7 inches. Okay, I can click this line and say that's 20 inches. So you see now increasingly our sketch becomes more stabilized. Constraint. This arc here, I can move around, but what I want is that this arc flows nicely into this line here. So there should be 180 degrees. And when you click on tangent, you see now how this arc stops tangent there. Now we can actually see that this is, there's a little bit of a distance in my case. So I put in 19. Oh, actually, it moved everything over that way. So here, this one, I have to give a little bit of more material. There we are. Very good. Here's a radius. We could say, to make it nice and clean, 9 inches for the radius. Very good. Let's go to 3D view. There actually we can see this is not tall enough. So you go to there, and I think there was a little bit of an angle. Very good. And now we can say this point to this point. Okay, 45 inches. Very good. Now you see it's pretty easy. You very roughly draw the shape you want, and then you start massaging everything into the format you would like it to be. We can specify here an angle. Let's say 105. That's a permanent angle. Actually, 110. Oh, look at this. This one actually rotated. That's not what I wanted. I want this actually to go down. Okay, let's put it between there. Okay, very good. If we change this 105 or 120, there you see now how I'm rotating this up. Here to here, we can see this is actually 2 inches. Okay. And then let's bring this over. I can select this point and this point. You see now this measures actually the length of that line, but I want to measure the horizontal direction. So if I click on this icon here, let's go horizontal. See, there we are. Let's say 1.25. And you to here, I want this to be vertically 0.5. Okay, very good. So you see, you can, with these sketch engines, work very precisely and very clean. And the nice thing is you don't have to redraw your sketch or your design. You simply adjust values. So for example, this point I would like to bring over a little bit. So here I say 19.5, but that moves this point over. So here I need to remove half an inch there. And this should actually go higher. Yeah, let's say there. So I could say this point and this point, vertical, yeah, 14 inches for the backrest. Oh, okay, very good. Perfect, nice. We have here a lot of more sketch constraints. So if you select 2 lines, they can be perpendicular, lines could be tangent, lines could be parallel, one line could be on the midpoint of another line, the center point of circles could be aligned, lines can be made equal along a mirror line, points or lines could be symmetrical. We can disconnect. What does disconnect mean? You see, when I draw a line and I draw a line, they're white. If I move them onto each other, they're not connected. So that is this endpoint. So when I click this, then I can move this again, because if they are joined, then they work as one. So pretty easy. Okay. I will exit the sketch. You also see that because I had all the dimensions turned on, we can still see actually all the dimensions. We can even go ahead and then later specify everything. So if I go ahead and say 6, you see how outside the sketch, I am still adjusting the sketch. So with all that sketching done, let's go ahead and do some modeling. Because this is the section cut is turned on, I will keep this for the moment and just work on 1/2. So here I'm pushing this over -28. Yeah, let's go with 28. Multiplied by 2 is 56. That's fine. Very good. The sketch is going to be in my way because I want to just have this part selected, and then I can drag this back. Looks like these are 2 inches. Okay, very good. Then I can turn the sketch back on, because now we can select our upholstered piece. And I extrude this one out, put my mouse here onto the surface, and it snaps to that distance. Select this one, extrude it out, and select this profile. That's easy peasy, pretty easy. Okay. I see that those are a tick longer. So what I will do is I can have nothing selected. So this is my second extrusion here. Okay, good. So there I say, now instead of to object, I say distance, and let's say 28.5. So whoa, but negative. We overshoot just a little bit. Up there, it hangs over. That's good, because all the edges will be rounded later. And then here, now because there it says to object, but then which object is it? Now I would like this face to be it. And that one we remove. Done. Then we go to here and edit. This one we remove and select this one and done. You see all the modeling commands are updated. Perfect. The sketch we can turn off. We don't need it anymore. This is all half a model. So for the extrusions, we now can actually all turn on symmetric. We don't see these parts because we are still in section view. So let's turn it off. There we are. Beautiful. Cool. Okay. We can now continue defining everything. So the next logical step would be to round these edges. So I have left mouse button and shift click, select those. Half an inch. Remember in the photo, this looks really tiny. Okay, so let's keep it that way. And then I will do the following. I select this and I go to isolate. Then I select the top and select the inside. So all these three faces, go to shell and type in 0.25. So you see now it actually removed all the faces and we ended up with a metal part that looks like a nice bent piece. Very good. Maybe I want this to go in a little bit, because when we are going to round this edge, this has to go inwards. So you see here, this is the shelling and there is the fillet. So let's actually go to here, right click and insert breakpoint. And I simply select this one and this one. And then you see I moved these faces in just half an inch. Okay, very good. I could have also drawn that sketch directly that way, but what I'm trying to show you here is how, and by the way, I'm going to remove the breakpoint, how we can modify our design via 3D modeling. There you see now that this looks like it's a little bit inside, like it's going to be connected to something that's inside the seat and the backrest. Okay. Let's say this one is done. Double click it to select it. Mirror. Here is the plane and done. Very good. Then let's take a look at our upholstered part. This edge is actually, that should be nice and soft. So we can round this, let's say with 1 inch. And then I'm going to tighten this a little bit. Very good. Then I can select this lower one. That's not as big. There. Okay, very nice. And maybe this edge rounding I'm going to apply to the other two edges. This is quite big too. And this, you see here, these are smaller. Okay, good. So I will go to here and click Edit, and then click on this edge and add that edge to that selection. Very nice. And then I go to the second fillet here and click Edit and say this one. Oh, it selected the opposite. There, did it. And sometimes now when objects are connected with each other, that can be a little bit tricky. And these are all going to be very small edge roundings now anyway. So we can shift click and, what is it? Click and go to the left side. There. Very good. And also here, click and go to the left side. So it selected actually all the edges. Because we only can select edges right now, here the system only allows us to select edges. Click done. Now look at that. Now all that is rounded. And then one edge, one edge, one edge. The same on the opposite. And I made a mistake here in my case. Hold on. So in case you have this happening, here I go back and I just click on this edge to deselect it. That is correct. Okay, one more time. Now I select these edges, other side, these edges, and point one. Okay, now the bigger there I can see how much of a radius I can give. And now I can play a little bit. Point two, make it slightly bigger. That is fine. This is our big radius. This is the second radius. So let's say 0.4. This is 1, 0.2. Let's say 0.3. Yeah, okay. Yeah, beautiful. There we are. Now we can go ahead and add some materials to it. Let's go to the visualization mode and go to metal. There's chrome. Can put this onto there. And then let's go to leather. Can drop these onto there. Double click to make sure the whole object is selected, or just select the body there. And then we can adjust, for example, the color nicely. And here I'm just making this a gray material. The blue is a tick too saturated. Click on the material, change the color. Maybe let's go to the environment and have fun setting everything up. Okay, very good. And with that, basically, this exercise is done. So this was a very simplistic model. Now to review, we went into a side view with the scan. Then we built all the basic building blocks, added all the dimensions to it. And then we extruded everything out and finished it then with the fillets, which is a pretty common process. So the fillets you always want to do kind of like really at the end. They can be slow to calculate. The more fillets you have, the more work it is. It's math. And that's the reason why ideally we always do those at the end. Very good. Perfect. That's it.